What's up there, workforce? Chris here with Work to Game, and I have a guest in my house.
Hey everybody. I decided that I couldn't wait and I had to come down and play some Final Fantasy VII Remake. And you were so lucky to answer the door when I knocked and said, let me in.
Yeah. Turns out this afternoon I had an opening if any stranger wanted to come play Final Fantasy VII demo on my PlayStation. What a demo.
Oh, yeah. Part of the way we're titling this video and the thumbnail regarding, like, is the question bad? There seems to be some, negative reaction to people playing this game after so long. And we've kind of tried to temper some of that with some of our videos talking about, like, the danger of a remake because there is that sense of such love, especially with Final Fantasy VII. And I can tell you right now, we're both really positive on it. You just released your video talking about, like, is it good and how it plays and all that. And so this is a video because having gone hands-on, you've gotten to play with it. We were also seeing some of the reaction online. I would say the reaction generally positive. But
Overwhelmingly.
Overwhelmingly positive. But there are some people who've raised, I think, some legitimate questions. But then also sometimes you got to wonder if it kind of dives into the mindset of like, oh, this is not what I wanted. And
right.
And so that's kind of where this video comes into play because the thing when you were telling me people were saying negative things about it, I go, like, who and like what were they expecting? But then I also said the original is still out there. It's not like they didn't pull a forged remaster and say this is it. Like for all time, you can still go play the original classic the way that it's meant to be.
Like there was an article from last December where somebody was saying that the ESRB rating coming out T for teen, and then quoting some of the sections if you go read the full rating, which is really like parents, right? It explains that there's going to be this moment in the story, and it spoiled it. And I said that to Brian, and he's like, game's been out 20 years. Like what are they spoiling?
The question, like, because I looked at you and said, hey, what is this game rated? It's teen. And then there was some foul language, and I was kind of surprised by that because I was like, oh, okay, well, all right. Like, that's going to be different because if they're going to, do that, it's going to determine my factor of how I enjoy this game. Not around my kids just yet because I don't really want to expose them to that kind of language. But not that it was like awful. It was shit.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, Barrett.
There's a couple.
And but the gameplay, I would say, really makes me wish that they had the system for 15 in a way. I'm hopeful for how this expands. The concern that I think Jason over at Kotaku raised was like the episodic nature, which I think a lot of fans are concerned about. Like if this is a 60-hour, just this one, a 60-hour game, when's the next part? Like, how long is this? Like, what's the rollout strategy? I can understand all of that.
Am I going to have to pay $60 at each chapter to get Final Fantasy VII over this saga of sevens? Mm-hmm. And is there a value to that? Because, there was an advantage the first time that you could kind of carry the same character all the way through. And if it's separate games, are you going to feel very fragmented? Like, oh, I played a different way. There's my lovely dog. Chuck, come here. Hey, bring Fox.
He's weighing in. He's a fan. So I think that's a legitimate concern. I think that when we look at the question of turn-based versus the action system, I like this refresh. I like turn-based games. We just saw a good turn-based game with Baldur's Gate 3. That looks really interesting and exciting. I think there is a value in a turn-based game.
Which everybody's saying looks like Divinity 2. I wasn't familiar with Divinity 2. But my understanding is it's the same studio. Like if you think it looks the same, it's the same people.
But in regards to 7 though, I think with the remake, it gives it the opportunity to open it up to things that were not possible at the time. And not that action games weren't possible. I think this is a really nice way of re-envisioning what it means. And what I want to see hands down, because the fact that it is episodic, the fact that this is going to be in Midgar, that's where this is all going to take place. I hope that it gives us the ability to dive really into the lore of the city, into the characters that are living there, and then expand on it. But I guarantee you, there will be a collection. There will be, like at some point in, hopefully not like 5 years. When they first announced this, I said, that looks like jokingly, that's going to be a great game in 2020. And here we are. Like, I'll try not to make those jokes again, just in case there's some weird, connection that I have with release dates, because that'd be horrible. Sorry. I know it wasn't me, but I think that the strength that they bring, like the first thing that I noticed, and you said it too, and I think I'm echoing a lot of what some of the internet positivity is saying, The lighting stands out as incredible. The sound is incredible. I like the voice acting. I commented while you were watching me play as it seamlessly transitions into the game, as there's no random battles. Like, I think this is an excellent opportunity to introduce Final Fantasy to a whole audience who maybe shied away from the series. I think they were trying to do that with 15 to a degree, and I based off the sales, were successful. This is an excellent follow-up into that mindset. Somebody who's come in and played 15, maybe enjoyed it. 15 was also piecemeal together, and so I'm going to reiterate those same concerns. Chris, did I miss anything?
I read like the half a dozen or so articles of people who got to play the 3 or 4 hour. A couple weeks ago, they had an event. I believe it was. There was definitely one in Australia. There may have been others. And media outlets were invited there. SkillUp was invited. So the layman always saying they're not mainstream. You're mainstream now. And
Congrats,
so getting to see them go hands on. They have a different outlook because they got to play not just the first mission but the second mission, and it sounds like they got to go out and maybe explore a little bit more about what the world's going to feel like. But I will say that like my views have even changed just on the events. I can tell you when I played these games like 20 years ago, being a mercenary sounded like an awesome job as an adult, and now like going for the highest dollar to blow up like basically a power plant in the middle of the city where people are like going to work
and living their lives,
The
dad in me
as this victory. I'm like, what's the fallout on that?
I think there's a I think
like,
I have to explore it. Is I could see myself because there's like at the end you blow up the reactor, and this is an unspoiler because if you played the game, it's 20 years old. Deal with it. The reactor explodes, power goes out, cars are crashing. And I'm sitting here as a dad going like, I would be so pissed off if my family was living in the city.
Yeah.
Now, the whole conversation from a philosophical thing is I hopefully meant to encourage debate. Like, what would be the right way to go about it? Like, right now, I would say
eco-terrorist group with guns hiring mercenaries, maybe not it.
Maybe
to
not.
Slay all the guards and then set a bomb at the center of a reactor.
And then blow up a whole city block. And, you know, it's like, who knows I hopefully we get to explore that fallout and that fallout of the city, because you got to think that people,
and that would be spoilery because that would be all new. They'd be adding content to the game that was not there, the chance to go explore other viewpoints.
You got to think that the people in the city, like maybe we'll get to see like some of the are they applauding like in the city was built on tiers.
You're like, that was me.
Yeah,
that was you.
You know, massive reward. Like, okay,
yeah,
you gotta.
My bakery caught fire from flying debris. You jerk.
Yeah, you son of a gun.
I lost everything.
Now my wife, because we're divorced, like it gets all dark. Like, it's like now she's taking the kids and moving to another city. It's just, oh my gosh, that went dark real quick.
It did.
Yeah. So all in all, like I think, from sitting down and playing the game, I think this is an excellent opportunity for Final Fantasy as a franchise. I think we've waited too long. Like, I think it's been, don't tell us. They need to follow up with this soon. Like, it doesn't need to be another 5 years between this and the next chapter. That's my biggest concern. And being that we don't know, and the question then comes down to, and this is where I'd be curious as to what the chat and what the comments say, is with the game and its 1 year exclusivity to PlayStation, and then later coming to Xbox and PC, etc. Like, is it going to come more full featured, or will let's say it's a year before we get the next chapter?
The next chapter is exclusive, and it's exactly a year. Yeah, exactly. PlayStation is always on point.
Well, and then you got the PS5. I can't, like, you don't have a PS Pro, and that looks incredible. So I'm going to say, like, I cannot wait to see what this runs like on for people on PS Pro.
Yeah, I just have a PS4.
On PC next year. Like the lighting, the people who did the lighting in this game, spot on, incredible. And it's not even using like that new NVIDIA, like
it's just Unreal
ray tracing or etc. Yeah, it's Unreal 4, which in and of itself,
it's nothing proprietary.
Well, right, but Square Enix has been moving to Unreal 4. I think this is going to be real telling to see what we hopefully what we can expect out of Final Fantasy 16, maybe even future updates for other big franchises or whatever. I wonder if Yoshi P's new 2016 project is in Unreal. Like, if they're gonna entrust Final Fantasy VII to Unreal, that's telling. I think it's gonna be interesting industry shift overall. I loved it. I want more. It's gonna be hard for me to wait.
So, were you frustrated with the combat changes? I think there's people who are going to be concerned, like they just wanted classic. And my understanding is that the classic, neither of us tried it in classic mode. We were like, let's just see what you got. So we both played in normal, but there's a classic mode that in theory replicates the more turn-based based on the little text description.
When you get the ATB.
When you get the ATB. So you'd basically be watching the whole time, wouldn't you? You'd just be sitting there in like a cinematic movie.
The only thing I found lightly frustrating as a critique of bit, and then when I said like, hey, it'd be nice if I could have the ATB charges fast for the other characters, you would say that I'd just be spamming abilities, and I would totally get that. Like, it's really driving me into the action combat.
Were you assigning traits to your other character with R2 and L2?
Yeah. So, and also you can do shortcuts, which was, I found, like, once I found the shortcuts, I was using shortcuts hands down. The combat drove me into more thinking action, so I was really trying to hit the square, hold the square a lot, and ultimately, I think that got me excited when things were really intense, because when you pull up the menu, time slows down, and it's such a great effect. Like things are still moving, bullets are like slowly starting to whiz by your head, and you're like, and they have to connect to you. It's not like I'm firing a bullet and it's going to hit you. Like, no, they can miss. You can be. Yep. I thought that was
if things get in the way. It eats it. I was aiming at the dog, and the guard stood in the way.
Yeah, it's like hands
guard
down.
Takes the hit.
It's like, that was so super. I love that attention to detail. I think there is going to be an argument, a group, a community that's going to really want the turn-based style. Like, there is a Final Fantasy style of turn-based, which Octopath Traveler and other games kind of fulfill that need. Bravely Default, the sequel 2 coming out later this year, also going to have that turn-based kind of combat to kind of fill that niche. I struggle with it because there is going to be a skill gap with the combat. I feel it right now in 7. Like, as I was doing that boss fight, I was like, I am not ready for this. Like, from a skill perspective, there were mistakes that I kept making over and over a couple times, to the point where I was actually getting frustrated because of that mistake, because I knew better. I saw the effect, the charge up, and in my mind I was like, I need to dodge out of this. And then my heart was like, I'm gonna get him. We're close. I got hit. Okay, dadgummit, Brian, what are you doing? I don't know if anybody else kind of has that. Like, I can kind of beat myself up sometimes when it's like, when I know I can do better. And in the shortness of the demo, does lend itself to like, oh yeah, there's going to be a skill gap. I think there's going to be some insane speed runs. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for like just skill within the system, with mapping your skills and the skill tree. Like, I'm really excited about this game. I love what they're doing
because it's good. Yeah, I think I'd be frustrated with how much they changed the original if it hadn't landed.
Oh yeah,
like, it was a bold. Yeah. This would be a bad game if it hadn't landed. The number of changes, because nostalgia wouldn't carry it. Like, right. This is a fundamentally different game.
Wow, that's an excellent point. That is an excellent point.
It's good because it's good.
Yeah.
Like,
and they didn't decide to like completely delete the previous edition. Like, in April, by the way, Final Fantasy VII original deleted. It's like, they're not pulling a Blizzard on us here.
No, I would hope they'd put it on sale. I'm surprised it's not lumped into the deluxe edition.
That is a kind of interesting.
Just throw it in.
Kind of like,
here you go. It's free if you want it.
Now, narratively wise, we were kind of joking earlier about the reactor. I was telling Chris, one of the things I'm really looking forward to experiencing with 7 is playing it now as an adult, because I'm going to have different life experiences. I'm going to have different expectations overall, like from being a kid and having a lot of time to play this game to being an adult. Like, how's the philosophy? How are the themes? How are the characters going to resonate? And so far, like, I thought they were spot on. Like, it was really interesting to kind of remember back to experiencing this the first time and seeing how it translated into the new Mako reactor and how all the characters interacted with one another. And I was telling you, like, even the UI, like, and how that they were feeding me little bits of information, characters talking over on the side.
All updated. Yeah. Now they have writers. I don't think 20 years ago they had writers. I think that was just... I don't know that they had the amount of teams that they had. Now they have a team just for lighting. So I think you have experts in the industry now, where before there might have been fewer people working on a project. Games have bigger budgets now. So you can have a person who just focuses on what they do best and doesn't really have any other roles on the team. So I think it lends itself to having a lot more writing.
Yeah.
They expanded the story. I mean, the fact that they're going to make a whole game out of just the first, 10% of 7?
Yeah, I think
Like-
that's what's going to be interesting to see. Like once people finish this, and then hopefully that progress carries over into the next one. So it's like,
You think?
I would say so. I would hope so. But, like imagine grinding up to level 99 just in this, and then you roll into the rest of the entire thing like decked out.
Are the next ones full games, or are they just crazy big DLCs, full price DLCs?
Well, they didn't have a part 1 named on this one, so
No, they just called it a remake.
It could just be like, and here's the next chapter. But what do you guys think? What are they gonna do?
The greatest fan service ever. I don't know if the budgets line up on this. Is they're like, well, we were going to give you all the chapters the whole time.
Yeah.
You didn't know that we were going to give you 700 hours for just $60?
No, I doubt that.
No, it's going to cost.
And that's why there's also going to be, at the end of all of it, the completed, like, it's like,
Yes.
oh gosh, that would be nuts. Because imagine if it is a year. Like, what's your excuse for not being 99? Like, why aren't all your materia, like, capped out?
Yeah.
Like, go in.
The first thing you fight in the next expansion is level 80. If you're not, deal with it.
Yeah, we
That's on you.
we gave you time.
We gave you a year.
Well, we'll have to wait and see and find out. Guys, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. Are you excited about the combat? Are you concerned with the changes overall? Like, and obviously, hopefully you've had the opportunity to experience the demo hands down.
Go play it.
So if you haven't played it and you can, go play it. And I'd love to know what you think. Chris, you got any other thoughts?
No, if you're waiting because maybe you don't have it on PlayStation, you're planning on getting it somewhere else, and you just want to see the demo just because you want to be part of the hype, my full playthrough demo will be uploaded over on Work Play. So thanks to everybody that's subscribed. I think we're over 500 there now. So getting to that first 1,000 subscribers on Work Play is exciting. And that's it for me.
All right, that's it for me. For Work to Game, my name is Brian.
And my name's Chris.
And that's Chuck with his toy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Take care. Chris here with Work to Game.
Brian here. Sorry.
I think I have somebody else in my house.
I'll catch you up. We'll do it again. It's been too long since we've done anything in person.